Okay, welcome to another episode of On the Wrist from Off the Cuff. Today, we have a really cool update for you from the brand Hamilton. A little bit about them. They were originally founded back in 1892 out of Lancaster, Pennsylvania, in the good old US of A. Of course, they are now currently Swiss-made, being part of the Swatch Group and falling underneath their middle range, being a sister brand to the likes of Tissot, Certina, and Mito. And they're really most known for their iconic models featured in both classic and modern cinema, as well as, of course, their field watches. Now, in terms of field watches, some key characteristics and styling when you're looking for something to really fill that classic field watch space in your collection, you're really going to want that modest vintage-sized style. Also, you're going to want, of course, full numerals, either 12 and 24 hour or maybe 12 hour and 60-minute scale, and then probably in a black or cream dial if you want to be the most period correct, or even now a green dial as you're seeing here today. This is the Khaki Field Titanium Automatic 38 millimeter, which is, of course, the green dial, and this is really described by Hamilton as, you know, their century-long pedigree in military timepieces combined with lightweight materials to really make the Khaki Field Titanium Automatic the ultimate all-purpose watch for modern heroes. Truly fit for a life in the field, the 38mm case size accentuates comfort and adaptability with a historically authentic design. And that's very true. This is historically authentic to Hamilton. You can get a lot of watches that might look like this, that might have similar specs to this, that could be cheaper, more expensive, but this definitely is an absolute design aesthetic that really is kind of owned by Hamilton at this point, at least within the mainstream. I actually have this watch here on loan from TeddyBalthasar.com. Yes, Teddy's watch shop. So definitely keep an eye out for more collaborations from that perspective and more watches coming in. But a few great things about Teddy's Watch Shop: they're an official authorized dealer of Hamilton, so that means you're going to receive a full manufacturer's warranty if you purchase through them, as well as they do offer price matching and monthly financing options. So that's fantastic. And then when you are trying to, get a little bit of a lower price there, you'll be speaking to a US based customer service team, which is also another nice benefit. So with all that long intro out of the way, let's go ahead, zoom the camera out, get this piece in hand, and take a closer look. Okay, guys, so a titanium field watch, and of course we have a couple of things in the background today. A nice titanium frame lock knife from Enrique Pena. This is part of his X series. This is the Mula, and it actually does have this really great green linen micarta insert into the frame lock. So very nice M390 blade, nice usable EDCable blade with this wonderful Wharncliffe shape there. So that is something that, of course, as much as we use these types of tools every day, you're seeing more and more stuff being produced in titanium, to include even a titanium flashlight, little Raylight mini pineapple with the new tail cap here, where you have a little countersunk area to kind of protect you from accidentally pushing the button. And you can see that, this is definitely a new piece of titanium versus the rest of the flashlight, which has been, carried and whatnot, and slowly taken on a bit of a patina and a bit of cloudiness over that initial brushing. So I'll have to carry this more so that it'll kind of match over time. But this material is nice and lightweight, and it is hypoallergenic as well, so it's not going to irritate the skin. And lightness definitely matters when you are outdoors. So lastly here, actually probably before we get to the field notes, is a titanium pen, and this one is a beautiful cam actuated pen from Billet Spin EDC, and I'm a big fan of it. And the nice thing about this particular pen, of course, it has been reviewed in the channel history, so check that out if you are interested. It does have a very similar fine brushed finish there. That satin brushing actually really matches the nice satin brushing on this watch case. So I thought that was really cool and a nice tie-in there, guys. So you can have premium materials that are used for both function and form, and I think that's one of the nice things about this watch. They definitely took that into consideration. Of course, field notes, trusted notebook for going out into the field with a field watch. So this is definitely a watch that you can wear, that you can take out and really, really enjoy for a lot of different reasons. No, it doesn't offer a screw down crown, so the time teller is not going to be happy with this one. But for the most part, if you're in a drier area, you shouldn't have too many issues. Of course, it always would be nice to get something with a threaded crown, especially since this isn't a manual movement, it's an automatic. So there's really kind of no excuse to not have it, or at least have some really nice seals that are built in so you can really ensure that you're going to be getting that full water resistance. But back to the specs here, 38 millimeters in diameter, 11.8 millimeters thick, or should I say thin. That's actually really nice. And I think even the breakdown of the mid case versus the bezel versus the case back do a nice job of breaking up that visual weight. It's not completely slab sided. Also, I do like that the lugs do turn down, even though they're not super long, at just 45.6 millimeters. If you do have a smaller wrist, features like this are really going to go a long way for you. I do have a slightly larger wrist, so doesn't bother me as much, but I definitely am always looking out, of course, for my smaller wristed viewers. So you also do get a double dome sapphire crystal. So double dome meaning it's domed on the outside as well as the underside, so there's not going to be any distortion. Even at very harsh angles, you can just see really how legible this still is. The one thing that I think that they could have done better with the sapphire is added some level of an AR coating, anti-reflective coating would have been very nice. But I will say, because of the dial color, you don't actually notice the lack of the AR too much, but you can see me right there in the reflection, which you normally wouldn't see while you were watching these videos, because the AR coating would stop you from seeing that. So this one will probably be a little bit tough to do things like photograph outdoors and things like that, and of course it's going to be a little bit tougher for me to film, but it definitely does a good enough job. And I think that beautiful kind of jade-like dial does a really good job of distracting you from any of the reflections that you might catch. Now, like I mentioned, the crown is push-pull, so it's not a screw-down crown, but it is nicely signed. You get down to the movement, you're going to be getting an automatic ETA caliber H10, so it's no date, but also no ghost date position, which is great. You're getting 80 hours of power reserve, 3 hertz movement that's beating at 6 ticks per second, or 21,600 vibrations per hour. You're also getting a Nivacron balance spring, so you're going to get a little bit of extra magnetic resistance from that perspective, which is great. Also, you're getting into this dial is, of course, printed. You're getting loomed hour and minutes hand, and then an unspecified superluminova that does glow green, which we'll get into a little bit later on in the segment. You're still getting 10 bar of water resistance, or 100 meters, and again, that's as long as this is pushed in. And of course, if you do search the web, you'll find people that have unfortunately had some fogging issues with Hamiltons in the past. I haven't seen anybody having any issues with some of their newer batches of watches, so I'm not sure how much they've addressed or not addressed. But I will say that for me personally, I mean, of course, take this as a grain of salt. I live in Southern California. None of my Hamiltons have ever had any fogging issues, and I wouldn't be the guy to take one of these watches into a hot tub either. So that's kind of a non-issue for me, but it could be an issue for you if you're in a very, murky or, a lot more humid type of area, right? So maybe if you're in Okinawa or Florida, you're maybe want something with a screw down crown, just due to the moisture that's in the air. All right, so the lug's 20 millimeter, which is perfect, especially for this size of watch. And then I'm also getting this nice calf leather strap, which is non-tapering. It's a little bit thick, it's a little bit stiff, so I will say that you're going to want to break this in. This is of course a new watch that's just kind of does the rounds, so I'm not going to be breaking it in too much. This is just from it being wrapped around the pillow from transit, but it does have this nicely milled H buckle, which is also signed, which actually that H buckle kind of reminds me of my recently reviewed Haviston strap there with a nice H for Haviston, and that actually would probably look pretty killer on here as well. Wow, I like that. So definitely check the channel history for my review of that. And actually it's available in 2 colors, also the seal brown colorway, which is a little bit more subdued. This, ooh, that kind of has like a vintage LL Bean kind of color play to it, so that's pretty cool as well. But yeah, this thing is pretty sweet, so let's actually get it on the wrist and see how it wears. Okay guys, as you can see on my 7.5-inch wrist, this wears really well. Of course, if I get a little too close to the camera, there's going to be a bit of lens distortion there. It's going to make it appear a bit larger. So what I'll do is I'll keep my wrist nice and low here, and then I'll just tighten the shot up so that we can get, you know, still a detailed look, but still while keeping a better aspect ratio in terms of how this might sit on your wrist. You can see very nicely centered there. Let me pull the sleeve up just a little bit. Kind of a cold morning here when I'm filming this here in, of course, sunny San Diego in Southern California. So have a laugh at that. But hey, I have been to Bridgeport, done Mountain Leaders course, so I do know cold weather when I see it. I know we're spoiled here in San Diego when it comes to the weather, but man, does this thing look gorgeous. Look at that. I love the tone of green on here. It's I like how light it is. It's not like lime light, you know what I mean? Like it's not light in a way that's loud. It's not super vibrant. It's still very subtle and very subdued for a green tone. And I really like that. It's not quite an emerald. It's more like a jade color that you know, depending on the light, can feel a little bit more golden. It can pick up some warmth, some tan tones, and I think it looks really great. And you can see lays nice and flat on the wrist. You can see also that the lugs curve down quite nicely. And this is gonna wear really well, even with the non-tapering strap that comes with it. Even though it's a little thick and it's you know, it needs to be broken in, a little stiff, the look is there. So that's a nice thing. They already provided you with a nice look. So, you know, when it comes to pairing any other straps, you already kind of know that these lighter kind of peanut butter color straps are going to wear really, really well and really suit the watch. So I really do like that a lot. So let's go ahead, get this piece off the wrist, set up for some Lume shots, the light transition, and closing thought. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and hit the lights here. Check it out. So I think this is actually improved Lume. So that's why I'm a little bit, you know, optimistic when it comes to Hamilton's, at least some of the newer models that have been released within the past 2 years or so, because I do see them making little strides. And, you know, this Lume is better than I've seen applied on Hamilton's of the past. Even the Lume on my Murph was also applied better. So you see those little steps up in terms of quality. You know, it does match some of the steps up in terms of cost. No, it's not a dive watch or anything like that. And honestly, yes, at this point, a lot of the competitors within this space are offering really compelling packages that are going to be taking on a lot more Lume. But again, it comes down to the fact that this is an aesthetic that is really intrinsic to the Hamilton brand, right? Which is that level of authenticity is something that you can't just manufacture. Yes, you can outfinish, out-manufacture, and out-spec a brand, but you can't necessarily, you know, just recreate their look without it being their look still. So that's one of the big benefits I will give to Hamilton and other legacy brands, where they really create something very special that lasts, you know, the test of time in terms of those iconic looks and design aesthetics. But of course, I do like to work in some low light transition, because you're not always going to be out in the middle of a field enjoying direct sunlight. A lot of times you're going to be coming in and out of buildings, walking underneath overhangs, maybe just being out in the field, but being underneath the shade of a tree, or camped out, you know, on the inside of your little shelter half, or whatever you're going to be camping with, whether you're glamping out in a log cabin or doing it the old-fashioned way and sleeping underneath the stars. It's nice to see what these colors textures and finishes render like in less than optimal lighting, to maybe even include some harsh lighting that typically might expose any type of production defects. But you can see here, still relatively nice brushing there, nothing luxury level, but you're getting a nice, uniform glide of the light over the brushing. The dial is really playing well. You're seeing there's multiple levels there, almost like a sector type of setup where you're getting that first, center 24-hour scale, then you're getting it separated by the 12-hour, and then of course the outer 60-minute track is very, very nice. And this is still very legible, even considering how much information is really being on there. And here's another spot where you can really see the shortcomings in terms of the lack of AR and it having a domed crystal, because now you see the white ceiling reflecting off of that crystal, which again you might not normally see in one of these reviews. But again, it's not the end all to have amazing, AR coating. There's brands like Rolex that still aren't putting anti-reflective coating on watches that cost multiples and multiples and multiples of times more than something like this. So can't really get too mad at a watch that you can get for under $1,000. And yes, this is going to be a little bit more expensive than the steel model, but the fact that it's in titanium, the fact that you know that it's a newer run, a newer model, it's not like you're going to buy this and it's going to be old stock. I think those things do add confidence, especially if you are going to buy from an authorized dealer like Teddy, and then also still be able to, get a little haggling done. When I purchased my Junghans Max Bill with sapphire crystal, I actually did ask for price matching, and I didn't even tell them I was a YouTuber. I was just chatting with whoever answered the chat on his site there, somebody in that US based customer service team. And while they didn't match the gray market price that I showed, they still did offer a good enough discount to where I decided to purchase through them versus through another retailer. So I will say that they are definitely very competitive. But closing thoughts on this watch. On the wrist, very classic proportions. It definitely fits a lot of different situations as well, thanks to that very clean and classic aesthetic. Even though Arabic numerals are very much tied to the likes of field watches, which are very function forward, it's still a very clean design. And you can also see dress watches that are going to have numerals all the way across. In terms of model variants, this is also still available with different dials in either 38 or 42 millimeter sizings. There's a blue dial in 42 that I wish they would make in the 38, because that thing looks killer. But I guess I'm glad that they don't make it, because now I can be less tempted. And then in terms of comparable models, the use of titanium definitely does increase the cost and the level of competition. But the titanium khaki field still managed to hold its own. What close comparables would you consider? I did recently do a video featuring field watches all in titanium that I think everyone should know about. I want to say I featured 4 or 5 different watches, and they were all less expensive than this, and they all had bracelet options. But all at the same time, none of them were Hamilton khaki fields, right? So this is an icon within the space, so it doesn't necessarily have to try as hard, kind of like a Seiko diver, right? You don't have to try as hard when you're a Seiko diver, because it's, at the end of the day, it's a turtle, right? It's an icon, it's an SKX, 62 Moss, reinterpretation, a Marine Master. When you have that type of heritage, again, you don't have to try as hard and be as spec heavy. You can just be, honest to your history and, step up things incrementally over time, because they are brands that have been around for a number of years, right? Just like Hamilton. So bottom line here, it's great to see one of the true OG field watch brands continue to evolve the classic platform into a more modern package. So whether you're looking for, more of a one-to-one reissue of the classic field watch, or in this case, a more modern reinterpretation, Hamilton really have got you covered, because they do have some that, look like straight off of the patinaed photos, sepia tone and whatnot, being reissued very faithfully. And then you see stuff where they evolve it and they tweak it and they improve it. So hats off to Hamilton for continuing to, take this forward and do more, and hopefully eventually we'll see in the future they make a more robust take that's going to give you a little bit more water resistance and maybe a screw down crown and make some of these watch reviewers happy. So with that said, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Again, another huge shout out to Teddy Balthazar and the teddybalthazar.com watch shop and their whole crew there for providing this loaner in to share with you guys. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you like the video, please do a like, and if you haven't already, please subscribe for more content just like this. Thanks, guys.